All right, my friends, how we doing? Welcome back to Real Estate Bites. This is episode number 71. Real quickly, wanted to apologize about last week's episode. I tried to pre-record and schedule through StreamYard, the program I use here, and I don't know, something got screwed up, and I messed it up, and it didn't work out very well. So last week was a doozy, and it's unfortunate too because at the end, the big sale of the week was a fun one. It was JB Bickerstaff's house, and we got to check out what his old house on the lake looked like before he sold it and moved out of town. Nevertheless, here we are, episode 71. This one features an interview that I did with Jenny Gennaro of J. Bella Styling. You know, I've talked about staging in the past, but, you know, we are obviously here in the onset of winter. It's a brisk day today, high of 25 degrees. And a lot of people are starting to think about getting their house on the market next spring and what they should do in order to be prepared. So I wanted to get a pro, someone who is involved in interior decorating, involved in interior design and staging every single day, to come on and talk to us about what you should be aiming to do when it comes to getting your house prepped for the market. So without further ado, here's my interview with Jenny Gennaro.
All right. I would like to welcome Jenny Gennaro to Real Estate Bites. Jenny, thank you for giving me the time today.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So quick introduction, everybody. Jenny is the owner and operator of J. Bella Interior Styling. You can see that there on the screen. She's also the star of a TV show called Cabin Wars. She is featured in season 3 of Cabin Wars. That will air, early 2025, right?
Yeah, January, February, we're hoping. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So it airs early next year, and you can see that, guys, on Discovery Plus or YouTube once it's aired, which, by the way, Jenny, congratulations, because that is a really cool accomplishment to have done.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It was a lot. I tell people, they're like, well, like, how'd they get started and like what happened? And I said, in all fairness, the one thing that you should do when someone asks you to do like a show or be a part of something, you should ask where it's at. Because I didn't realize that it was in Louisiana. And I don't think like my mind comprehended where Louisiana was on the map, which is really far away from Ohio.
It sure is.
Hey, so the traveling was the challenge, but it was a great experience. And I'm so glad that I did it.
It's amazing. It's amazing. So I asked you to come on. Again, thank you for coming on because you are an interior decorator. You are a home stager. And clearly your tastes are refined enough and elegant enough that you're on a TV show. So please, Jenny, go ahead, and I'm going to pull this screen up that you're going to share, and you're going to go through and tell us what's hot and what's not in interior design. For anybody who may be looking to just redo their home, or if you're considering design trends for flipping, or if you're considering selling your home. So here we go, Jenny. I'm going to pull this up right now.
Okay. Yeah, so this is just an example of a property that I helped an investor and one of my partners, Wayne Brooks. This was one of his properties that he was doing. So this looked nothing like it. This was down to the studs when I walked it originally. And this is just a great example of how to renovate and to a neutral decor. So the flooring. So my guidance for everybody is always try to keep it light, especially if you are trying to be an investor and you're doing flips, or if you are even trying to sell your property. People can't typically see past color. So it's really important that you keep things neutral in color, and just, I always say, like, tone it down, right? Less is more. So this property, this is actually my flooring line, the J. Bella flooring line. This is the summer sand color, which is the lightest color. We'll be coming out with a 2025 line, hopefully in the next couple months as well. But it's light, it's airy, and it makes spaces look really a lot bigger. So if you have a smaller space and you want to try and make it larger, I always say go with lighter tones. So white is really big. Everybody's always like, oh my God, what white? Like, it's so plain. It is plain, but again, it makes things look bigger. And you want to allow someone who is a homeowner to come in and and be able to vision like themselves living in a home. That's like the number one tip I give people. You want to speak to as many people as you possibly can when you're trying to sell a property, right? And so when you're doing that, if you're going to add color and you're going to do grays or blues or reds and things like that, like you're actually deterring people from purchasing, and that's not what we want to do. So white is great, creams are great, beiges, anything in like that family would be great for paint color options. And lighting is going to be a really important feature too, because that's where people's eyes typically gravitate towards. So if you're trying to give like a wow factor, I always say do lighting. But as you can see in this property, everything is pretty neutral and light and airy. And that is usually my big tip for people on what colors they should be choosing and they should be gravitating towards, not just ending in 2024, but definitely going into 2025. This is what people are going to see, is the neutral, the woods, the browns. That's going to be super important.
Yeah, and for the people out there, your first showing is online, and look at this picture. It's a gorgeous picture. The room looks gigantic, right? And it shows so very clearly, and it's a great energy and a great ambiance to the room. So those light colors make a huge difference in the photography, which again is your first showing. That's what's attracting people to even go and step foot in the home in the first place.
Exactly. Yep, you got it. That's exactly it. And it's very important to, right, that's your selling point. It's that one moment that you're grabbing the client, you're grabbing your, your hopefully your future buyer, and you need to sell them off of a picture, right? And so and that tends to be why I'm not a big fan of virtual staging. Some people are like, what? And I'm like, but I always tell people, like, it's kind of like catfishing, right? So what if this was virtually staged and then you brought your client into the home? It's never going to be there. Now you're just like, you almost disappointed them. So I
Mhm.
always say, if you're going to do it, just, you might as well stage it, because that's, walking into it, you want to still, and you use great words. It's a vibe, right? Like it's like, that's exactly what you're trying to do. And that's why staging properties, in my opinion, I'm a little biased, but it's so important.
Yeah, I agree. It's proven that staged properties sell better. Lived-in properties sell better, quicker, for more money, because it gives coziness. It gives a sense of familiarity, as well as it helps people visualize their stuff in this place, which helps them, have more. It helps create more of a home feeling in their minds, anyways.
Exactly. Yep.
Awesome.
I can flip through a couple more of these. Will that
Yeah,
work?
please do.
Yeah, okay. So this is just another angle. But I'm gonna I mean, and staging is just, it really is, again, so important. Like you said, lived in properties, empty properties, it's just hard to walk through a property and get this get like a feeling and a sense of hominess. And typically buyers, that are not investors, they need that. They want to feel that. So super important. You can see here a couple things I would note is I'm really into gold right now. I think it is trending. I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon. And so I'm really loving gold and blacks, especially in the kitchen, bathrooms. You can also mix them, which we actually did in this property. And I don't typically, but we did. And I actually really like how it worked out. The lights, you can see that there's like black on them. The ceiling fan, there was black on them. So this was one that we kind of had a lot of fun with. And this one's actually going to become an Airbnb, believe it or not. But the bathrooms are super fun. So, but this one came out really good.
It did. And another thing, in that kitchen too, you have that one section of cabinets that is different color
Mhm.
than the rest. So they pop.
On that.
It
Yeah.
adds dimension and depth to the room.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And you're right, it pops. And it's important to, you want to make statement pieces throughout the house. You want people's eyes to get drawn to things. Typically, you want to do it in every room. You want like one little thing, whether it be a light fixture or, or it be, but something just different, or tile in the bathroom, or a vanity. It really doesn't matter, but like try to pick something, because as people are walking through the home, you want to capture them in each room. And it's why staging is kind of important as well, because through that, you don't want to lose them.
I'd like to ask you a bit about staging, if you could talk to people about it. I've done episodes on staging. That's gorgeous right there.
Yeah. Yeah, this was fun. And if you notice throughout this one, it's important to create a flow throughout the home. So I'll walk through properties and like one bathroom will be completely different and which is okay, but you just got to be really careful and you do want to create flows throughout the entire space. Like, you would not think that you're in a different house, right? Like you're still through the same home. And we even did like the exposed brick. You can kind of see to the left of this picture. I think it's in another one, the
Hmm.
exposed brick over here. So it was just little pieces. Wayne's really good at stuff like this. So it's great to work with him because he kind of lets me do my thing, which is great. Um, but yeah, this was a fun one. We had a lot of fun with this one.
Talk about the furniture that you use in staging. When you went back to, that's another beautiful piece right there. What is the flooring in there? Is that that's tile on the
It
floor? I'm
is.
assuming.
Yeah.
Looks like wood.
It
Okay.
looks like wood. Yeah, it does. It's just like a neutral textured, and they're bigger tiles too, so they're much easier to work with. I love them. Um, but they just, yeah, it looks like wood, and it goes well with the green that was picked out for the shower.
It does. It does. So the furniture, it's pretty minimal.
Yeah.
They don't have to be you know, super ornate. You have very elegant but very minimal style furniture, and
Hmm.
it fills the need of simply um, adding dimension to the room. So, please talk to us about the furniture that you select, how and why.
So again, all of the furniture I typically choose are it's going to be neutral in color because I never know what property I'm going to be staging. I could be staging a property that's got red walls, right? Because I will go in for real estate agents as needed if they've got a property and a client's been living there and they've been living there maybe 30, 40 years and they've never done anything with the property. They've never, updated it and it needs some love for individuals who are struggling with vision. So I'll come in and I'll stage it, but it for me it has to be neutral. So these are light couches. I mean, I have to be able to, move this stuff. So everything is it's simple, it's pretty light. And I try and keep at least again an open mind because I have to be able to put my furniture into different properties. So I'll have statement pieces here or there, like in this one. In the bedroom, I used a darker bed sheet. And that was just because I think this one needed a little bit of color because we did go so light in everything. So I'll mix it up here and there to add some color with things. But for the most part, furniture is light. And I've learned as I go, right? Like typically I try to steer away from too many lampshades because they get damaged easily. I've definitely gotten rid of my share of couches that were just heavier for me to move or for, the guys that I have moving furniture to move. So I'm learning. Definitely try to go with lighter furniture. My beds are actually 2 6-foot tables. I'm
Mhm.
not using, and for the most part, like again, like you can tell once you go in and you're like you look at it, but the idea is to just give you the idea of what furniture would look like in this space.
For sure, it's excellent. And this is, I think, an especially important point for people who are considering selling. You can see how great this space looks with a very small amount of furnishings, right? You don't need a ton of furnishings. Um, so when you're considering selling, you really need to start thinking early on about how to eliminate a lot of things that you might have in the house. I mean, as much as you can still function as a family, if you are a family living in there. But the gigantic sectional couch with the two lazy boys and all the end tables where you got all your stuff, you might want to consider storage or moving some things to the basement or the garage so that when people come in, the room opens up the way this does. I mean, using that minimal amount of furnishings, it shows, it gives you that lived in feel, but it also allows the room to stay large, right?
So that's actually a great point, and you're absolutely right. So and again, like I'll walk through for a client for another agent, and I will room by room dissect everything, and I write up a report when I'm done. It's a pre-listing consultation, and I write up a report of everything that they need to remove. I mean, and it's even like pictures of your family off the wall. it's hard for people you want people to walk through the home and envision themselves living in it. And if all they see is someone else, it's really hard for them to do that. So you're right. And again, like space, you want to maximize the space. You want it to feel as big as possible. So it is very important that you remove as much as possible. You keep it simple. I'm a very less is more kind of person. I think that clean and cleanliness and the feel of that is super important. I mean, there are stagers that will go and they'll put a ton of furniture in the space. That is not me. I'm not that kind of stager. I will never be that kind of stager. I am a light stager. That's what I literally consider myself. I call myself a light stager. I just think less is more. It will always be more. And it's super important for you to not take away from what someone else can visualize when they're walking through the space. So you don't want to overcrowd it. You don't want to put too much in it when you're staging, but also when you're selling. You want to clear everything off the shelves, clear everything off of the counters, right? Little pieces here and there, like the table right here, like just some candlesticks and a vase, super like small and just very simple. So yes. And like you said, like you're going to be moving, you're going to be moving. So it's just in preparation. You're just preparing a little bit early and you're removing stuff, sooner. And in all fairness, I think you and I experience people moving all the time. So that it's just you're getting steps ahead and doing it beforehand, and you'll thank yourself later.
For sure. Jenny, that was an excellent point to wrap this thing up with. I really appreciate you coming on today and sharing your expertise and educating myself and the audience about some design tips, staging tips. I really appreciate it. And beautiful work, by the way.
Thank you.
Also, hey, congratulations. I know you can't tell us and spoil who wins season 3 of Cabin Wars. So everybody, you should go to Discovery Plus and or YouTube early 2025 and check out Jenny, see how she did on Cabin Wars.
That's right. Stay tuned.
Very cool. Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate
You're
it.
very welcome. Thank you for having me.
You have a great day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
So that was my interview with Jenny Gennaro of J Bella Styling. Thank you so much, Jenny, for giving me the time to educate us there on some really solid styling tips and staging tips for those folks who are considering putting their house on the market come springtime. Okay, now it's time to jump into our weekly look at statistics. So these stats are always, I'm pulling them from the MLS. They're specific to Lorain County, and they're about homes that were sold in the past week leading up to this program. So let me share the screen here and pull up these stats. All right, here we go. So this morning, there were 450 single-family homes and condos for sale in Lorain County. There were 54 closings last week. You can see that's the lowest amount in quite some time. Matter of fact, that is the lowest amount since February or March of this year. So 54 closings, median square feet of the houses sold last week was 1,655 square feet. The median home value was $251,800. Median square foot value was $154.17. Median days on market, 23. And this morning, the interest rate for a 30-year conventional note was 6.87%, just a few basis points higher than what we had last week. So this week's big sale of the week, as you can see, was $720,000 in Avon Lake in Britannia Estates. We're going to go take a look at it. And it's interesting taking a look at this property in juxtaposition to the interview that I just had with Jenny, because she talked about light colors throughout the house. She talked about different finishes and the way those can be used to stage. And this is not that. So take a look. You just saw the pictures that Jenny showed. Take a look at this property, the big sale of last week here in Avon Lake at $720,000. You'll see once we get inside that they decorated their home with pastels. Lots of light blues. There's some light pinks, some light purples, light yellow, greens, right? So you've got pastels. A lot of the things that Jenny talked about are still in play when it comes to, some of the lighting and stuff like that. But What do you guys think? You saw her pictures. Now you're looking at someone who used color throughout the home. And how does that show? How does that look in pictures and maybe even live versus what Jenny was advising us on? You can see the color kind of closes in the room a little bit, right? I don't mind. I actually love color. I can tell you that my home is painted blue and throughout the living and dining areas. And I've got grays, I've got lavenders. So I love color. But to her point, the white, the very light neutral colors, they really expand the room and the space when you're looking at it. Nevertheless, this is a beautiful house. I love some of the things that they've got going on, like this octopus decor here. I mean, I know that's not part of the house, but I dig their style. This armoire here is amazing, right? So anyways, fireplace in the bedroom is cool. That's my dog driving me bananas. This is the big sale of the week, $720,000 in Britannia Estates in Avon Lake. And that wraps up episode number 71 of Real Estate Bites. Thank you guys for joining me. Please share this with friends and family, specifically this episode for anybody you know that might be considering putting their house on the market in the springtime, summertime of 2025. This is timely advice for them. Share this with friends and family. And look out for Jenny Gennaro on Cabin Wars in the spring or actually late winter, early 2025. As always, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. I love you, people. See you next week.